My blood was a cocktail of cheap whiskey and pure fury when I kicked open the door to what I thought was my ex-girlfriend's new life. I was ready for a war, ready to unleash 4 years of suppressed rage on her and the man she Eurostrayed chosen over me. But the man staring back at me from the silken sheets, his body illuminated by the sliver of moonlight piercing the curtains, was not her husband. It was her brother, Keith. And in that moment, my quest for revenge took a dark, intoxicating detour I never saw coming. It had all started just hours earlier, in a grand hotel ballroom that suffocated me with the scent of lilies and hypocrisy. I was wedged into a corner, my tie loosened to a chokehold, watching the ghost of my future marry another man. 4 years. 4 years of my life, my sweat, my dreams, had been poured into Emmer. Eurostrayed worked double shifts waiting tables, driven strangers through the dead of night for Uber, and hauled lumber until my back screamed, all so she could have the college education her parents wouldn't pay for. And my reward? A text message. A single, casual text sent at midnight, just hours before the ceremony. "Babe, I'm going to a wedding today," it read. Eurostrayed asked whose. Her reply was a single word that shattered my world mine. So there I sat, 3 glasses deep into a bottle of whiskey that tasted like ash, watching her float down the aisle in a dress that likely cost more than my car. She was marrying Tommy, a man whose hands looked like their Eurostrayed never seen a callus, a trust fund prince with a smile as polished and empty as his accomplishments. Beside me, a man in a perfectly tailored suit nursed his drink in stoic silence. I didn't know him, didn't care. I just needed an anchor in the storm of my own making. I nudged him, the whiskey sloshing in my glass. "See that woman up there?" I slurred, my words thick with bitterness. "The one in white, that was supposed to be my life. She was my girlfriend, right up until midnight apparently." The man, whose name I would later learn was Keith, turned his head slowly. His eyes were dark, a deep, unreadable abyss that seemed to absorb the chaotic energy of the room. He didn't offer pity or judgment, just a quiet observation. "Is that so?" he murmured, his voice a low baritone, the kind of sound that could calm a riot or start one. He was humoring me, the tragic drunk at the wedding, but I was too far gone to care. "This whiskey is bitter," I muttered, tossing back the rest of the amber liquid. It seared a path down my throat, but the pain was a dull echo compared to the fire raging in my chest. The memory of her vows, her soft "I do," felt like a physical blow. The sound of my glass slamming onto the table was a crack of thunder in the quiet hall. Every head swiveled in my direction. The music screeched to a halt. Emmer froze, her face a mask of shock and then panic. Keith Eurostrayed's voice cut through my haze, calm and firm. "Jeffrey," he said, a quiet. But it was too late. I was already on my feet, swaying but resolute. I snatched a fresh glass from a passing waiter and held it aloft, a broken toast to a broken promise. "To the happy couple," I bellowed, my voice echoing in the sudden silence. "May your marriage be joyful, long-lasting, faithful, and fruitful." The room erupted in a confused murmur. At a nearby table, a woman whispered to her partner. That sounded odd, didn't it? Her boyfriend, a smirk playing on his lips, swirled his wine. "Eurostrayed's a curse, darling," he explained. "Joy without happiness. A long life without love. Faithfulness without desire. Children without a future. Eurostrayed's absolutely savage." Across the room, the judgment came in waves. "He's just salty she dumped him. What a loser, ruining her big day." I ignored them all, my eyes locked on Emmer. Her face was ashen. She clung to Tommy Eurostrade's arm, pointing a trembling finger at me. "Tommy, I don't Eurostrade know him," she cried, her voice shaking. "He Eurostrade's just some drunk who crashed our wedding. Get him out of here." Two mountains of muscle in cheap suits materialized beside me. "Sir, you need to leave," one grunted, his hand clamping down on my arm. I ripped myself free, the whiskey from my glass splashing across his chest. "Don't Eurostrade touch me," I snarled. The other guard shoved me hard towards the exit. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, their faces a blur of pity, contempt, and morbid curiosity. Emmer had already turned her back on me, burying her face in Tommy's shoulder as if I was nothing more than a bad dream she could will away. Keith just watched, his expression impassive, like a scientist observing a volatile chemical reaction. The alley behind the hotel was cold and damp, smelling of garbage and regret. Tharter Eurostrade's where they taught me my lesson. A swift kick sent me sprawling onto the wet pavement. I tasted the coppery tang of my own blood. I managed to land one wild punch before their fists and boots descended on me like a hailstorm. When they finally left, I was a heap of bruised ribs, split lips, and shattered pride. I lay there, staring up at the gray, weeping sky as a light drizzle began to fall. This was the payoff for 4 years of devotion, beaten and discarded like trash. Eurostrade given her my time, my money, my entire heart, and all I got in return was a midnight text and a back alley beatdown. My fingers, shaking, fumbled for my phone. I dialed Milton. He picked up instantly. "Yo, Jeff, what Eurostrade's happening?" His cheerful voice was a stark contrast to my reality. "Not much," I croaked, spitting a mouthful of blood onto the pavement. "Just got my ass handed to me at Emmer Eurostrade's wedding." "You around?" Milton let out a low whistle, followed by a dark chuckle. "Damn, man, you really know how to party. Meet me at the bar. We Eurostrade going to make this right." I hauled my broken body to its feet, lighting a cigarette with trembling hands. The rain intensified, plastering my ruined shirt to my skin, but I barely felt it. Emmer thought she could just delete me from her life. She was about to find out how wrong she was. As I stumbled toward the distant neon glow of Multnomah Eurostrade's bar, Keith Eurostrade's face flashed in my Minder those sharp, observant eyes. There was something unsettling about him, a dangerous stillness that I couldn't Eurostrade quite place. I shook it off. This night wasn't about him. It was about revenge. Milton's bar was a cathedral of bad decisions and cheap beer, the perfect place to plot a downfall. I sat in a dimly lit booth, nursing a beer while Milton lined up shots of whiskey like soldiers ready for battle. My face was a tender, swollen mess, but the ache in my heart was far worse. She Eurostrade traded our 4 years for a man who probably named his yacht after his polo horse. She didn't even have the guts to break up with me, Milt, I seethed, slamming back a shot. The fire in my throat ignited a new kind of resolve. She sent me a text. A damn text. I want her to choke on that, I do. Milton's grin was predatory. He slammed his hand on the table, the bottles rattling. "That's my boy. Let's go pay a visit to her family's ivory tower. I know a few guys who would love to crash a rich girl's wedding night." An hour later, we were a chaotic convoy of 2 beat-up vans, blasting heavy metal, speeding toward the manicured lawns of Emmer's family estate. My head was spinning, a dizzying mix of alcohol and adrenaline. Milton, with his rough charm and a bottle of cheap brandy, somehow convinced the gate guard to let us through. The house was a monument of glass and steel, an architectural marvel that looked cold and uninviting. It dared me to break it. "You guys wait here," I told Milton, my voice unsteady as I approached the grand staircase. "I need to do this alone." Milton cracked his knuckles. "You got it. But if her new Ken doll starts screaming, I'm going upstairs to redecorate his face." I managed a grim smirk and started the long climb, my head pounding in time with my footsteps. The upstairs hallway was shrouded in darkness. I found the first door on the left and pushed it open, my mind bracing for the sight of Emmer and Tommy. But the room was quiet, filled with a faint, masculine scent of sandalwood. A solitary figure was asleep in the king-sized bed. My blood boiled. This had to be him. With a roar of frustration, I tore the blanket off the bed, ready to unload a lifetime of fury onto Tommy. Except it wasn't Tommy. The man who sat up, clad only in black boxer briefs, was Keith. My brain stalled, the gears grinding to a halt. The guy from the wedding, the silent observer, Trade's brother. "Where is she?" I demanded, my voice echoing in the silent room. Keith simply raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow, unbothered, as he pulled the sheet back over his lap. "Not in here," he said calmly. "Are you lost, Jeffrey?" The alcohol in my system was warring with a shock. Trade not Tommy," I stammered. He let out a short, humorless laugh. "Last time I checked, no. Trade her brother. And you are Trade in my bedroom, trying to undress me. Is this some kind of death wish?" The realization hit me like a physical blow, and a hot flush of embarrassment washed over me. But the whiskey was still in control. "Your sister is a liar," I spat. "And Trade here wait. You were at the wedding. You sat right next to me." He reached for a pack of cigarettes on the nightstand, his movements slow and deliberate. "You are Trade more observant than I gave you CR for," he said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. He lit one, the small flame illuminating the sharp planes of his face. "Are you finished with your little tantrum, or should I have security escort you out again?" I stepped toward the bed, my fists clenched at my sides. "Your sister used me for 4 years. I paid for her life while she was planning a new one. Are you really going to sit there and defend that?" Keith took a long drag from his cigarette, his eyes never leaving mine. Trade not defending anyone," he said, exhaling a cloud of smoke. "But you are Trade drunk, you are Trade belligerent, and you are Trade in my bed. Farter Trade as a bad combination." "Your bed," I scoffed. "What, are you and Tommy taking turns?" A slow, dangerous smirk spread across his face, and it did something strange to my insides. No honeymoon tonight, just me trying to get some sleep. A task you are Trade making incredibly difficult. In a moment of drunken bravado, I lunged forward and grabbed his wrist, intending to haul him out of the bed. But he moved with a fluid, startling speed. In a single, seamless motion, he twisted my arm, flipped me over, and pinned me flat on my back against the mattress. The air was knocked from my lungs. I was trapped beneath his weight, the scent of sandalwood and whiskey overwhelming my senses. "What the hell?" I gasped, struggling against his iron grip. His chest was a wall of solid muscle. "You started this." Keith Trade's voice was a low growl, his face just inches from mine. Barging into my room, ripping off my sheets. "You wanted to play rough." "Ire euros trade am happy to oblige." "Ire euros trade am here for Emmer, not you," I snapped, my heart hammering against my ribs. His eyes glinted in the dim light. "Are you sure about that?" he whispered, his lips brushing against my ear, sending an unwelcome shiver down my spine. "You have 10 seconds to get out of this room, Jeffy, or you are euros trade not getting out at all." My mind was screaming at me to fight, to run. "You are euros trade insane," I breathed, but my voice was weak, stripped of its earlier fire. The air in the room felt thick, heavy. "Ire euros trade am not afraid of you." His grip tightened. 5, he counted, his voice a low thrum against my skin. €4, stop it. This isn't a euros trade a game. You psycho. I shoved at him again, a futile gesture. His eyes weren't angry, they were something else, something intense and searching, as if he was looking for a secret I didn't even know I was keeping. 1, he breathed, and then he kissed me. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was a collision. It was raw, punishing, and desperate. A release of some pent-up force I couldn't euros trade begin to comprehend. My brain was a red alert of signals, but my body betrayed me. The whiskey, the rage, the betrayal, the heat of his skin against mine euros, it all coalesced into a single, explosive moment. I kissed him back, a frantic, angry response, trying to punish him, or Emmer, or myself. When he finally pulled away, I was breathless, my shirt half open, my mind a complete blank. Keith sat back against the headboard, calmly lighting another cigarette as if he hadn't euros trade just turned my entire world on its axis. "You good?" he asked, his voice infuriatingly casual. "Good." I scrambled off the bed, my face burning with a mixture of shame and confusion. "You are euros trade her brother." What in the hell was that? He took a drag of his cigarette, watching me through the smoke. "You tell me," he said softly. "You are euros trade the one who stayed for the countdown." I stumbled out of the room and down the stairs, my legs feeling like they belonged to someone else. Milton and his crew were lounging in the living room, a haze of marijuana smoke hanging in the air. "Yo, Jeff," Milton called out, a wide grin on his face. "You look like you either saw a ghost or got laid." "Shut up," I snapped, pushing past them and out into the cold night air. My heart was a runaway train, and my lips still tingled from the pressure of his. I had come for revenge on Emmer, and I had ended up in her brother euros trade's bed. This was not the plan, not even close. The rain was relentless, a cold, miserable downpour that matched the state of my soul. I stood under the meter protection of my apartment building the euros trade's awning, the cherry of my cigarette a lone point of light in the darkness. I was trying to scrub the memory of Keith euros trade's kiss from my mind, but it was branded there, a confusing mix of whiskey, sandalwood, and unexpected fire. My phone buzzed for the 5th time. Emmer. I let it go to voicemail, but the guilt was a knot in my stomach. 4 years I euros trade spent loving her, and now I was euros what? Getting tangled up with her brother as some kind of sick revenge. A figure materialized from the rain-soaked shadows. It was Emmer, her makeup running in dark rivers down her cheeks, looking like a tragic heroine from a low-budget movie. "Jeffrey," she sobbed, her voice trembling. "We have to talk." I flicked my cigarette into a puddle, watching it die with a faint hiss. "Torque, you had your chance to torque, Emmer. You chose to send a text instead." She moved closer, clutching the lapels of her expensive coat. "I didn't euros trade have a choice. My parents euros they forced me into this marriage with Tommy. Eater Euros trade as a business arrangement, a merger. Jeffrey, I swear, I never stopped loving you. I let out a sharp, bitter laugh that sounded like breaking glass. Love? You texted me a circumflex Euros babber Euros trade on the morning of your wedding to another man. Farter Euros trade s not love, Emmer. Farter Euros trade s manipulation. Her eyes filled with perfectly formed tears, but I was immune to her performance now. I was scared, she whispered. My biological family, they found me. They told me I had to marry Tommy to secure my inheritance, my place. I didn't Euros trade T know how to tell you. So you just Euros didn't Euros trade T? I crossed my arms, a barrier against her lies. And now you are Euros trade here. Why? Did the business deal fall through? Do you want me back on the bench? She nodded, her eyes pleading. She stepped so close I could smell the familiar scent of her perfume, the one Euros trade D bought her for our second anniversary. We can fix this, Jeffrey. Euros trade LL leave him. We can run away, start over somewhere new. I was about to tell her exactly where she could go when a sharp bark from her car cut me off. My dog, Rusty. He was in the back seat, his paws scratching frantically at the window. A fresh wave of rage washed over me. You took my dog, I snarled, shoving past her and wrenching the car door open. Rusty bounded out, covering my face in frantic, wet kisses as if Euros trade D been gone for a decade. He missed you, Emmer said, her voice small and pathetic. I thought if I brought him Euros you would listen. Listen to what? More of your lies? I snapped his collar on, my blood boiling. You don't Euros trade T get to use my dog to score points, Emmer. Jeffrey, please, she begged, her hand grabbing my arm. Euros trade am so unhappy. Tommy isna Euros trade T like you. He Euros trade s cold and controlling. I made a terrible mistake. Before I could formulate a response, a pair of brilliant headlights sliced through the rain. A sleek, black SUV purred to a stop at the curb, and Keith emerged, a dark coat flapping around him like a cape. His gaze flicked from Euros trade's desperate grip on my arm to my face, his expression as unreadable and intense as ever. Am I interrupting something? He asked, his voice smooth as polished granite. Euros trade's hand tightened on my arm. Keith, what are you doing here? Just checking on my investment, he replied, his eyes locked on mine. You all right, Jeffrey? I pulled my arm away from Euros trade's grasp. Just peaky. Simply enjoying your sister Euros trade's one-woman show. Euros trade's face contorted in anger. Don't Euros trade T you dare talk to me like that. Euros trade am here trying to fix our lives, and what are you doing? Hooking up with my brother just to spite me? I froze, the accusation hitting a little too close to the bone. Keith, however, just smirked. He moved to stand beside me, a solid, protective presence. Hooking up? No, Emmer. Euros trade am pursuing him. There Euros trade s a significant difference. Euros trade s jaw dropped. For the first time all night, she was utterly speechless. I wasna Euros trade T sure if I should be relieved or terrified. Pursuing me? I said, turning to Keith. You barely know me. I know enough, he said, his voice dropping lower, a private challenge just for me. I know you are Euros trade fiercely loyal, incredibly stubborn, and apparently foolish enough to stand out in a downpour arguing with her. Euros trade's eyes narrowed into slits. You are Euros trade disgusting, Keith. He Euros trade's my ex-boyfriend. You are Eurostrade re only doing this to humiliate me. Keith let out a cold, sharp laugh. Stealing him, sweetheart. You didn't Eurostrade T just put him down. You threw him in the garbage. I Eurostrade am merely doing a bit of recycling. I felt like a trophy being fought over by two spoiled siblings. I wanted to punch them both, but then Rusty whined, nudging his wet head against my leg, and I remembered what mattered. Emmer, give me my dog and get out of my life, I said, my voice leaving no room for argument. We are done. She shook her head, rain and tears mingling on her face. You don't Eurostrade T mean that. You loved me. Loved, I repeated, putting all the weight of the past tense on the word. You made your choice. Now live with it. Keith stepped between us, his body a definitive barrier. His hand brushed my shoulder, a fleeting, electric touch. Time to go, Emmer. Don't Eurostrade T make this any messier than it already is. She shot him a look of pure venom, then glared at me one last time before storming back to her car and speeding away into the night. I let out a breath. I didn't Eurostrade T realize I Eurostrade D been holding. Rusty licked my hand, a silent comfort. Keith turned to me, his dark hair plastered to his forehead by the rain. You are Eurostrade read a real magnet for drama, Arena Eurostrade TU, he observed. Says the guy who ambushed me in his bedroom. I shot back, the memory making my pulse jump. He grinned, completely unfazed. Come with me. My apartment is warm, dry, and I have whiskey that does no Eurostrade T taste like regret. I hesitated. Why would I do that? Because you are Eurostrade re-soaked to the bone. I Eurostrade am not finished with you yet, and frankly, Rusty deserves a comfortable couch to dry off on, he said, his eyes glinting with a challenge that made my stomach do a slow, nervous flip. I looked down at my shivering dog, then back at Keith. Against every rational instinct in my body, I nodded. Fine, but no more funny business. He opened the passenger door of the SUV, his smile widening. No promises. His apartment was like something out of a magazine. Euros, all sleek lines, dark wood, and ambient lighting. He tossed me a plush towel and poured 2 glasses of amber liquid before settling into an armchair across from me, watching me with that same intense, analytical gaze. So, he said, swirling the whiskey in his glass, what are Eurostrade it going to take for me to keep you? Name your price. I nearly choked. You think I can be bought? Everyone has a price, Jeffrey, he said, leaning forward, his eyes serious. What are Eurostrade yours? The Monday morning light felt like daggers in my eyes. The low hum of the office was a dull roar in my ears, doing nothing to soothe the headache left over from my night with Keith. The ghost of his kiss and his infuriatingly smug confidence lingered. My phone was vibrating off the hook. A video of me at the wedding, Euros drunk, shouting my bizarre curse, being manhandled by security Euros had gone viral among my colleagues. My life had officially become a meme. Yo, Jeffrey. Dave, the officer Eurostrade's resident gossip, crowed, waving his phone at me. You're Eurostrade re-famous, man. Cursing out the bride like a rejected reality TV star. Epic. I shot him a glare, my split lip throbbing in protest. At least I didn't Eurostrade T weep into my keyboard when my fantasy football team lost, I muttered. He just laughed, showing the video to Sarah from accounting, who let out a theatrical gasp. Jeffrey, they beat you up. Farter Eurostrade's orful. Why didn't Eurostrade T you just walk away? Because I Eurostrade am a world-class idiot. I grumbled, turning back to the spreadsheet that was blurring before my eyes. The truth was, €euros trade D wanted Emmer to feel something, anything. Instead, €euros trade D stumbled into a psychodrama with her brother. Dave leaned over my cubicle wall, his smirk firmly in place. Heard you took a swing at one of the guards. Ballsy, but dumb. Bet Emmer euros trade S having a good laugh over this. Keep talking, Dave, and euros trade LL give you a live demonstration of dumb. I snapped, my hand clenching into a fist. His smirk wavered. Just then, our manager, Greg, stormed over, his face the color of a ripe tomato. Jeffy, he barked, slamming a folder down on my desk so hard my coffee mug jumped. This report is a disaster. The numbers are all wrong. Are you actively trying to get fired? I took a deep breath, fighting the urge to tell him where he could shove his report. Greg was Davir euros trade S uncle, and he euros trade D been looking for a reason to get rid of me since day one. It was correct when I submitted it, I said, keeping my voice level. Maybe you should double-check your own work before you start shouting. Gregor euros trade S eyes narrowed. Are you calling me incompetent? Your attitude has been garbage ever since you made a fool of yourself at that wedding. One more screw-up, and you are euros trade re-gone. The entire office fell silent, everyone pretending to be engrossed in their work. That was it. I pushed my chair back and stood up. You want to talk about attitude, Greg? How about you stop harassing me just because your nephew has a mouth bigger than his brain? Dave let out an offended squawk. Greg stepped right into my personal space, jabbing a thick finger at my chest. Vater euros trade it, Jeffrey. War euros trade refinished. Clean out your desk. I was seconds away from doing something euros trade D deeply regret when a voice, cold and sharp as shattering ice, cut through the tension. Actually, Greg, war euros trade re the one war euros trade S finished. Keith was standing in the doorway of the office, dressed in a suit so sharp it could cut glass. His expression was arctic. No one had known the company had been acquired over the weekend. Keith, it turned out, was our new CEO. He strode into the room, his gaze briefly meeting mine before landing on the stunned manager. Pack your things. War euros trade refired. Greg sputtered, his face turning a shade of purple euros trade D never seen before. War euros you corner euros trade T. You don't euros trade T have the authority. I own the company, Keith stated flatly as if discussing the weather. I have all the authority. Security is on their way. 2 guards, far more professional than the ones from the wedding, appeared and quietly escorted a muttering, defeated Greg out of the office. Dave looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. Keith ignored the cacophony of whispers and simply jerked his head toward the corner office. Jeffrey, my office. Now, I followed him in, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. He closed the door and leaned against the massive mahogany desk, his posture relaxing slightly. You okay? He asked, his tone surprisingly gentle. I was handling it, I said, crossing my arms defensively. You didn't euros trade T have to do that. He smirked. Handling it. You were about to punch your boss in the face. A noble impulse, euros trade LL admit, but bad for your career. Besides, you are euros trade re too pretty for a lawsuit. Pretty? I snorted, but I could feel a blush creeping up my neck. What is your deal, Keith? Did you buy an entire company just to rescue me? It was a sound financial investment, he said, his eyes glinting. Saving your job was just a perk. I rolled my eyes, but my pulse was hammering. He was standing too close again, his signature scent of sandalwood and expensive cologne filling the space between us. "You may be my boss out there," I said, taking a step back, "but in here, you don't euros trade t get to just €2." He closed the distance in an instant, trapping me against the wall, his hands planted on either side of my head. "You are euros trade right," he murmured, his voice a low vibration that I felt in my bones. "Right now, I euros trade am not your boss. I euros trade am the guy who wants you." And then he kissed me again. This time it was slower, more deliberate, a kiss that wasn't euros trade t about shock or anger, but about staking a claim. My mind screamed at me to push him away, but my hands betrayed me, grabbing the lapels of his jacket and pulling him closer. He tasted of strong coffee and undeniable power, and I hated how much I didn't want it to end. I finally broke away, gasping for air. "You are euros trade completely insane," I managed. "I don't euros trade t even like men." "Sure you don't euros trade t," he said, his thumb gently tracing my jawline. "Farter euros trade s, why were euros trade trembling?" "I euros trade am not trembling," I lied, trying to shove him back. He didn't euros trade t move an inch. "What do you want from me, Keith?" "I want you," he said simply, finally stepping back. "I know you are euros trade loyal to a fault. I know you are euros trade stubborn as hell. And I know you kiss like you are euros trade fighting for your life. For now, thutter euros trade s enough." My head was spinning. "This is crazy. I euros trade am not euros I carna euros trade t do this." He sat on the edge of his desk, one eyebrow raised. "Then leave. The door euros trade s right there." I glared at him, but my feet were rooted to the spot. The truth was, I didn't euros trade t know what I wanted anymore. Emmer had broken me, but Keith was rebuilding me into something new, something I didn't euros trade t recognize. "Stay," he said, his voice softening, "or don't euros trade t. But I promise you, I euros trade am not letting you go that easily." I let out a long, shaky breath, my defenses crumbling. "Fine, but no more making out in the office." He grinned, a slow, triumphant smile that made my stomach clench. "No promises." The bass from Milton's truck vibrated through my bones as we barreled towards our university reunion. I stared out the window, watching the city lights blur, and questioned every life choice that had led me to this moment. The thought of facing Emmer and her smug new husband again felt like willingly walking into a Lina euros trade s den. Milton, however, was beaming. "We euros trade gonna own this place, Jeff," he boomed, slapping the steering wheel for emphasis. "You are euros trade rolling in with a guy like Keith in your corner. Time to show these clowns you are euros trade upgraded. Keith is not in my corner, and he euros trade s not my date," I grumbled. "He euros trade s just euros aggressively persistent." Milton snorted. "Dude, the guy bought your company to keep you from getting fired. Tharter euros trade s not persistent. Tharter euros trade s biblical." The reunion was in a hotel banquet hall that reeked of desperation and cheap champagne. Emmer was holding Cart in the center of the room, Tommy attached to her arm like a designer handbag. Her smile faltered the second she saw me. "Jeffrey, you came," she cooed, gliding over to us, her voice thick with fake sympathy. "I wasna euros trade t sure you are euros trade d show your face after euros you know. After the wedding, where you pretended not to know me for 4 years. Yeah, great times, I said flatly. Tommy smirked, swirling a glass of red wine. Heard you got thrown out on your ear, man. Tough break. Milton stepped forward, his sheer size an implicit threat. The only tough break is what are Euros trade-s about to happen to your face if you don't Euros trade T. Shut it, pretty boy. A guy from my old economics class, Brian, chimed in, eager to stir the pot. Seriously, Jeffrey, why couldn't Euros trade T? You just let it go. You got your ass kicked for nothing. Let it go. My voice rose, attracting more attention. She let me work 3 jobs to pay her tuition for 4 years, then married this clown without a word. Noir Euros trade D. Just a circumflex Euros. Let that go. A circumflex Euros trade. Brian. Emmer clutched Tommy Euros trade S arm, playing the damsel. Don't Euros trade T. Listen to him, honey. He Euros trade S. Just bitter. Bitter? Milton roared with laughter. Your girl was calling him a circumflex Euros babber Euros trade in a text message the morning of your wedding. Genius. How are Euros trade S that for bitter? Tommy Euros trade S face flushed a dangerous shade of red. He took a step towards me, sniffing the air dramatically. What are Euros trade S that smell? Oh, right. Eater Euros trade S sordist. Still playing with blocks for a living, Jeffrey? The room erupted with cruel laughter. My fists clenched, but Milton was faster. He pulled a sleek, black CR card from his wallet and flicked it at Tommy Euros trade S face. It bounced harmlessly off his cheek. What are Euros trade S this? Your weekly allowance. 10 grand limit. Farter Euros trade S adorable. I spend more than that on tires. You are Euros trade going to regret that, Tommy snarled, lunging for Milton. I stepped in, grabbing Tommy by the collar and shoving him back. He swung a clumsy punch, which I easily dodged before landing a solid right hook to his jaw. He staggered backward, crashing into a table of appetizers and sending a shower of champagne glasses to the floor. The room gasped. Security guards started moving in, but a voice cut through the chaos like a razor. Let them be. Keith. He stood at the entrance, a vision of calm authority in a dark suit. The hotel manager rushed to his side, bowing slightly. Mr. Keith, we weren't aware you would be joining us. I own a controlling interest in this hotel chain, Keith said, his eyes finding mine across the room. They can stay. The whispers in the room turned from derision to awe. Keith walked directly to me, ignoring everyone else. He took my hand, examining my reddened knuckles. You are Euros trade going to break your hand pulling stunts like that, he said, his voice low and for my ears only. Next time, let me handle it. I don't Euros trade need you to fight my battles, I muttered, pulling my hand away, my face hot. He smirked. Could have fooled me. Tommy, scrambling to his feet, pointed a shaky finger at us. Keith, what is this? You know Fisa Euros this loser. Keith Euros trade S gaze shifted to Tommy, and it was so cold it could have frozen larva. This loser, he said, his voice ringing out in the suddenly silent room, is mine. And you are Euros trade lucky all he did was bruise your ego. A collective gasp went through the crowd. Emmer stepped forward, her voice shrill with disbelief. Yours? He Euros trade S my ex. Keith, you are Euros trade just doing this to humiliate me. Keith Euros trade S hand came to rest on my shoulder, a simple gesture that felt like an anchor. I Euros trade am not doing anything because of you, Emmer, he said, his voice devoid of warmth. I Euros trade am pursuing him. You should learn to deal with it. I froze, my heart doing a painful lurch in my chest. He Eurostrade D said it again, pursuing, but this time it was a public declaration, a line drawn in the sand for everyone to see. I met his gaze, and for the first time, I didn't have a sarcastic retort. I didn't want to argue. You are Eurostrade re crazy, I whispered, but there was no heat in it. Crazy is my specialty, he replied, a wicked smile touching his lips. We walked out of that hall together, the crowd parting for us as if we were royalty. Outside, Milton lit a cigarette, shaking his head in disbelief. Holy hell, Jeff, that man is gone for you. I didn't Eurostrade T reply, but as I climbed into Keith Eurostrade's waiting SUV, his words echoed in my head. He Eurostrade's mine. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I belonged somewhere. The dinner at Keith Eurostrade's family estate felt like a trial by fire. The massive dining room was intimidating, and his parents, Richard and Elaine, regarded me with a polite, yet clinical, curiosity. The only warmth came from Clara, their adopted daughter, whose genuine smile put me slightly at ease. Emma sat across the table, her glare a physical force. Keith Eurostrade's hand found mine under the table, his thumb tracing small circles on my palm, a silent message of support. Jeffrey, Richard began, his voice deep and authoritative. Keith mentioned you are Eurostrade re in finance. Yes, sir, I said. Eater Eurostrade's a field I enjoy. Numbers don't Eurostrade T have ulterior motives. I felt, rather than saw, Emma stiffen. Elaine, Keith's mother, offered a tight smile. You two met at Emma's wedding, I hear. Quite the memorable introduction. Keith squeezed my hand. You could say that. Jeffrey was creating a bit of a scene. He's hard to ignore. I nearly choked on my wine. Emma seized the opportunity. Jeffrey has always been prone to dramatics, she said, her voice dripping with condescending sweetness. Remember when you dropped out of classes to work construction, Jeffrey? So you could pay my bills. It was so Euros quaint. The air grew heavy. I gripped my fork, my knuckles turning white. But Keith spoke first, his voice dangerously calm. What Emma forgot to mention, he said, casually peeling a shrimp and placing it on my plate, is that Jeffrey worked those back-breaking jobs for 4 years so she could get her degree. He gave her everything he had, and in return, she married another man without so much as a goodbye. That kind of loyalty is a rare commodity. Richard and Elaine exchanged a look, their polite masks cracking. Is this true, Emma? Elaine asked, her voice sharp. Emma Eurostrade's face turned blotchy. Eater Eurostrade's more complicated than that. No, Eater Eurostrade's not, Keith cut in, his eyes like chips of ice. Jeffrey is here tonight because I want him here. Farter Eurostrade's all the complication you need to understand. After a tense dessert, I escaped to the garden for air. The cool night felt like a balm on my frayed nerves. I was taking a picture of the moonlit roses when I heard footsteps behind me. It was Emma. You are Eurostrade really doing this? She whispered, her voice breaking. You are Eurostrade choosing my brother over me. You made the choice for both of us, Emma, the day you walked down that aisle. She stepped closer, grabbing my arm, her breath smelling of wine. I made a mistake. I miss you, Jeffrey. She tried to pull me into an embrace, but I pushed her away, firmly but not violently. Stop it. Ire Eurostrade am with Keith now. Her face twisted into an ugly sneer. You don't Eurostrade T love him. You don't Eurostrade T even like men. You are Euro's trade just using him to hurt me. Just then, the garden door opened, framing Keith and his parents in the doorway. Seeing her audience, Emma Euro's trade's demeanor shifted instantly. She spun around and slapped me hard across the face, a loud crack in the night Euro's trade's silence. "How could you, Jeffrey?" she shrieked, tears streaming down her face. "After everything Euro's trade done for you, trying to take advantage of me when Euro's trade am Keith Euro's trade's sister." I just rubbed my stinging cheek, a slow, cold anger replacing my shock. Keith Euro's trade's eyes narrowed, ready to intervene, but I held up a hand to stop him. Then I held up my phone and pressed play. My voice, recorded just moments before, filled the air. "Stop it. Euro's trade am with Keith now." Then Euro's trade's venomous reply. "You don't Euro's trade even like men. You are Euro's trade just using him to hurt me." The audito was crystal clear. Euro's trade's face drained of all color. Elaine gasped. Richard Euro's trade's jaw was set like stone. Keith took the phone, listened for another second, then handed it back to me, his expression unreadable. "Emma," he said, his voice dangerously quiet. "You are Euro's trade out of chances." Her carefully constructed world crumbled. Richard Euro's trade's voice was final. "We have given you everything, Emma. A name, a home, our love. And you use it to manipulate and destroy. Euro's trade's over." She fled into the house, her sobs echoing in the garden. Elaine placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. "Jeffrey, we are so very sorry. Keith is very serious about you. Now we understand why. You are welcome in this family." Later, as I stood among the roses, Keith came to my side, lighting 2 cigarettes and handing one to me. "You handled that perfectly," he said. I took a long drag. Euro's trade am done playing her games. I looked at him, a real smile touching my lips for the first time all night. "Did you really tell your father you are Euro's trade give up the family business for me?" He shrugged, but his eyes were sincere. "I meant it. You are Euro's trade worth more than any of it." My heart did a stupid, happy flip. He moved closer, his hand cupping my jaw, and he kissed me. It wasn't Euro's trade a kiss of anger or possession or drama. It was slow and deep and full of a promise I was finally ready to accept. So, what do you think? Did Emma get the ending she deserved, or was her family Euro's trade's reaction too severe? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoyed watching Jeffrey finally find his happiness, do us a favor and smash that like button. And be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't Euro's trade miss our next story. See you next time.